Analytics User Group kickoff event. This is the inaugural user group meeting, and we are so excited to have you all here. We're going to go through a few housekeeping slides before jumping into the content, so bear with me for a few minutes before we get to the good stuff. So overall agenda, I'm going to be giving an introduction to the user group program and what you guys can expect by joining this program, followed by a welcome by your user group leader, Ritesh Gupta. And then we'll jump into our session from our special guest, Eric Matisoff from Adobe. And then at the end, we will save time for Q&A. So just at a high level, what our goals are in having these user groups offered for our Adobe users. So firstly, this user group is for you to expand your network. By joining this user group, you have the opportunity to connect with users around the world, product experts, and have your toughest questions answered. So make sure to not be shy and use that chat feature and post all your questions in the chat, and we'll make sure we get to them. Third, we love to reward you all with some fun swag for joining these user groups. So after this meeting, I will be hosting a raffle. We'll enter all of the people that attended live into a raffle, and we will be mailing out some awesome swag. And then lastly, increasing your personal brand. So if you are interested in presenting at a future session, make sure to reach out, and we'd love to get you featured at an upcoming session. Just an overall view of the user group program at Adobe, we are very committed to creating accessible and inclusive customer-led user groups across Experience Cloud. So we started with Marketo Engage about 10 years ago, and we've slowly been making our way across Experience Cloud with Adobe Analytics, and actually recently launched Experience Manager and hoping to establish some user groups for Commerce and Target. So stay tuned for that. And I posted this in the chat, but as a reminder, if you have not yet done so, I definitely encourage you to subscribe for the Nordic Analytics Adobe User Group. If you subscribe with this QR code, then you will be opting into finding out when the next upcoming meeting happens. So we also have a Twitter page, which is listed here, and this will all be sent out and included in the recording afterwards. And without further ado, I'm so excited to introduce you to your user group leader, Ritesh Gupta. So over to you, Ritesh.
Thank you, Kelsey. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening from all the people who are here. I know we have people from different regions, and it's really an honor to really be part of this, user group meeting. So I will quickly not. I know we all are here to hear to our star speaker, so I'll honestly take not more than 5 to 10 minutes of your time before I hand it over to Eric. So just bear with me. So I'll just reach out to me or chat or put any, if you have any technical issues, just put it on chat. Kelsey, maybe you can just monitor the chat and let us know if you have any questions or anything. Yeah.
Sounds great.
So what is Adobe Analytics User Group? I think we have been talking about it. You must have got multiple emails, and I think that's the reason why all of you have joined. So I tried being a little cool in terms of the generational gap that we have, and I wanted to give it a hashtag as we keep hearing from people. So what is Adobe Analytics User Group? It's basically about us. It's about you. It's about me. It's about all the good things that Adobe Analytics has, and we as either practitioners, we as either consultants working for clients, or subject matter experts. We're just trying to be a very inclusive group, as Kelsey mentioned, where we just want to make sure that we come together, we collectively problem solve, we network with people, and also we enhance our experience. So as I think the most important point out here is being together, being inclusive. None of us know everything. We all are learning. I'm learning. I'm sure all of you are in the same boat as me. So we all are learning from each other. And I think that's the whole point of starting this user group. You might have something that I'm looking for. I might have some expertise, or maybe someone else has some kind of expertise. That person can definitely use this user group as a platform to showcase his or her talent. So a quick introduction about me. It's not a small one. I apologize, but yeah, I've been working for quite some time. So my name is Ritesh Gupta. I work for a company called Conversionista. It's a part of the ARC group, and it's in central Stockholm. I've been working with Adobe Experience Cloud tool for almost more than 7+ years. I started working as a web analytics consultant for SAP. Then I moved to Adobe India as a senior technical consultant, then to TA Digital as an architect. And now I moved to Stockholm, and I started working with Conversionista as an implementation specialist. I worked on a wide array of, Adobe Analytics, Adobe Target implementations. I worked with other technologies too, but my main expertise, or my love, is mostly for Adobe Analytics, and that's for obvious reason. So I've worked with a lot of clients, like I cannot obviously put the names out here, but pharmacy, consulting, finance clients, banks, in US and India. And I do run a blog. It's called the Learning Project. I'm not a very regular blog post person, but I am trying to make it very active. So please definitely visit the site after this meeting, and just share your thoughts on the blog posts that I've added. I am not too active on Twitter. Twitter for me is basically just a directory of links. So I just use that, and I am on LinkedIn by the name Ritesh Gupta. A quick introduction to my company. My company name, as I said, is called Conversionista. We have been established since 2010, and now we are under the ARC umbrella. We have around 80+ team members in different regions in Stockholm, Gothenburg, Malmo, and Oslo now. And we have almost 750+ clients. So the whole reason why I choose to join Conversionista is because I believe that this company has the exact philosophy of using data as a driver for change. And to track data, or to track a customer, we need analytics, right? So it's kind of a perfect match. So that's a quick introduction about my company. And just two more slides before I really hand it to my guest speaker. So the most important point about this AAUG, and I would want to really emphasize on, is basically, you can be a speaker too. It doesn't have to be really a finished product, a finished solution. You just have to have some thoughts, maybe anything that you have been working, that you have been using it in your client meetings or in your own demo sandboxes. Feel free to reach out to me at my email ID, ritesh@thelearningproject.in, and use this platform to increase your personal brand. I think we all are responsible for how we really showcase ourselves, and this platform from Adobe is a great way to do that. Now, it's been all very formal right now. Let's get into some kind of polling. So please please take out your phones and just scan this, or just use this URL in your browser. So once everyone is in, I will start the polling. You can just let me know. I think we should have enough people. Let me get started, and okay. Just this screen will change, don't worry. I know it's very in your face kind of a screen, so okay. See the poll? Okay, great. So we'll start with the first one. just go and make your choices, and let's see what does the whole screen show. If not, I'll have to use my browser. I knew this problem will always come. It's a technical challenge. Sorry about that. Yep. So 20 votes, 20 participants. I'm really happy to see that we are getting 100%. So just tell us, what is your expectations of the user group? You want to do problem solving, you want to do your networking, or you just want to mingle with people. It's all more than welcome. Okay, we have 24 votes, 24 participants. I think mostly people are here to do problem solving networking, which is really a great reason. I think Kelsey will be really happy to know that the whole purpose of setting up the AAUG is bang on. We know we want to come together and do problem solving. Okay, moving on next. What is your location preference for the next meeting? Would you like to meet in an office, or you want to do it from your couch? I prefer meeting in an office because it helps me to break the monotony of my house. But I'm sure I think it's a equal vote. People are coming. Great. Okay. Okay. I think COVID has changed our mindsets. Okay. Cool. Wow. Now this is a very good tie. Okay. A few more votes from the people. Okay. Cool. No worries. So yeah, in an office in Stockholm, congratulations. We are going to start our next user group meeting in an office. So I'm finalizing on the details. The next meeting that we will have will definitely have people in person. So definitely wait for my next invite. Moving on. What's your level of familiarity with the Adobe Experience Cloud? Are you like really professionals, or you are expert like me, or you're just starting to dip your toe in it? It's totally fine. You don't have to, be an expert. I am learning AEP right now, so I can rate myself as beginner in the AEP, but this is about Experience Cloud tools. Okay, cool. Oh, that's nice. So I think I know what my next content, or what the next speaker who I would like to invite will be talking about. So it's a good thing. So that's nice. Okay. Has everyone done? Okay, I think 20 votes, 20 participants. Great. Okay, moving on. How many tools have you used in your line of work? I know Adobe has this fascination with naming tools, but what do you think is yep, of course. I would have been surprised if it was any other tool. But great. Okay, awesome, awesome. Nice. I like this display that we have. I think it's a great way of finding out how active participants are. Okay, obviously Adobe Analytics is a clear winner with launch. That's nice. Eric, maybe that's something for us to take back to a product team. Need some more demos from you and the team on launch at least. We'll definitely look into that later. Okay, so 20 participants, 53 votes, great. What days do you prefer for meetups? I know I picked up Thursday. Wow, Friday. I would like to meet on a Friday. It's like mostly an after work. Is that, yeah? Wow, Thursday seems to be a clear winner. Yeah, I also prefer Thursdays. We are nearing the end of our week, and we just want to make sure that, we ended up with some knowledge, and at least, if not more knowledge, at least share our thoughts with our people. So I'll be good. Yep. Thursday is definitely a winner. So that's good. Wednesday, yeah, Monday, Tuesday, neither am I. I'm not a big fan of Monday, so for sure. But that has got nothing to do with people who are choosing it. I'm glad. Okay, cool. So we have Thursday as the clear winner of what next meetups should be. And moving on, two more questions and we are done with it. Okay, so what's the most preferred time for meetup? What time do you want to? I know this time it was mostly in afternoon, but what time? Okay. Okay. I'm not sure, Kelsey. I think this must be the same. Uh, you know, I don't know what do I name. How do I name it? Maybe the same result for other regions also. Mostly people prefer using afternoons for all this
Definitely.
meetup. Yeah.
Mhm.
Great. Okay, so we have evenings, second mornings. Yeah, of course. I know we all have meetings and especially back-to-back meetings. So I think afternoons and Thursday is really a great combination. And last, and definitely the most important question, our guest speaker, Eric Matisoff, has penned a book about Adobe Analytics. And has anyone been a part of it? Not sure. That's okay. That's the reason why we have Eric to share his thoughts. Okay. Eric, maybe more marketing from your side for your book.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's a great book. I have read it. I have been obviously using it. There are two books. I think one was a Site Catalyst by Adam Greco and this Adobe Analytics for Dummies. So I'm not trying to just carry some favor, but that's actually a great book. It really makes things very clear. So feel free to definitely buy it from Amazon. If not, I think maybe one of the giveaways that I can do it next time will be the book. Okay, so that's pretty much it on the poll. Thank you so much for your time on the poll. I mean, it's not time for the presentation to get over, but it's time for me to welcome my guest speaker. So let me just bring my presentation back. Or Eric, would you like to start sharing your screen?
Sure, yeah, happy to.
Yeah. Okay, so now we have Eric. Eric Matisoff. He's a principal evangelist, Adobe Analytics and Data Science from Adobe. And I don't want to spend more time and make sure that you all really feel the worth. So Eric, all over to you. And thanks once again for joining. It's really a great pleasure to have you as a guest speaker. I can't be more happy, and thanks to you and Kelsey for that.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah, I'll just mute myself so that you can talk. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, thank you, Ritesh. And welcome everybody to the kickoff for the Nordic User Group. Very excited to be here today and meet you all virtually. As Ritesh mentioned, my name is Eric Matisoff. My role at Adobe is as an evangelist for analytics and data science. I've been at Adobe almost exactly 6 years, like to the day. And prior to Adobe, I was agency and consulting side for a little more than a decade. So so my role at Adobe is all about just simply making sure that our customers, that our partners, that different folks that have access to our products have the knowledge that they need, whether it's through taking advantage of latest and greatest technologies and the latest features that we've released, or simply sessions like these where I get to kind of share over some of the fun stuff that we've been up to. Ritesh and I had talked through a few different topics for the day. Let's see, we have till the top of the hour, is that right? So we've got like 35 minutes. Oh yeah, actually I'm realizing there's a copy of the book right behind me. In case you don't believe the website that I dropped in to the chat pod there. The three main topics that I thought could be of interest, or that we thought could be an interest, is one, some of the capabilities that we've recently released that are related to dealing with limitations that have been brought from the browsers around the length of cookies, and so product and cookie limitations coming from browsers. One of them, for example, from Safari is called ITP, or Intelligent Tracking Prevention. We'll talk a little bit about that. The second topic is a little bit about how, the analytics industry is evolving. I feel like it's been evolving every single day, every single month, every single year since I first started getting involved in like 2007. But things are really kind of crazy these days, and so we thought, there's a lot of customers that have been asking questions about, you know, like, what's Adobe's plan for omnichannel analysis? What, when customers have questions about like, hey, what's the deal with GA4? What should we be doing? So I just want to talk a little bit about that if those types of questions have been coming up at your companies. And then third, and certainly not least, I wanted to give you a little bit of a glimpse into the roadmap. The roadmap actually had a big day yesterday, because last night we had our big June release. So we had a whole slew of features that were released that I've been really excited about to play around with while they've been in beta the past month or so. So hopefully you all hit refresh in Analysis Workspace this morning, and we're delighted to play around with some new capabilities. So the first topic, like I mentioned, and yeah, as Ritesh put into the chat pod, definitely don't hesitate to interrupt me, ask questions. If you want to unmute yourself, you're welcome to do so, or just throw them in the chat pod. I'm happy to answer however you like. So the first topic is all about a capability that we have termed first-party device IDs. The goal of first-party device IDs is to help you as a brand, as an implementer of products within the Experience Cloud, to have more durable first-party cookies. Now, first-party cookies are generally looked at as a pretty privacy-friendly capability. The GDPR world and consent, of course, is super important, that you make sure that you're aligned with your local privacy laws. So keep in mind, I am not a lawyer, so I will just put that out there. So you don't want to ask me any legal questions. The most important thing, though, is that you work with your legal teams, you work with your privacy teams to make sure that your implementations, that your deployments are aligned with your privacy policies and local regulations. With that out of the way, we can start talking about tech. So one of the limitations that, I don't know, maybe a year or two ago, Apple released for all browsers that are in iOS and iPadOS and Safari on macOS. So that means if you're in Chrome or Edge or Firefox, there are different rules on a Mac. The biggest limitation that the Apple team has added is that first-party cookies that are set through JavaScript can maximize their expiration to 7 days. That means if I am a first-time visitor on Ritesh's website, the Learning Project, today, I wouldn't be, but if I was, then, and I came back in 8 days, I would again look like a brand new visitor. So I come back, so I'm on Thursday and I'm there next Friday, then all on a Safari browser, then I look like a brand new user, and Ritesh wouldn't be able to use Adobe Analytics or Adobe Target or real-time CDP in order to string that behavior from Thursday to the following Friday, not 1 day, but 7 + 1, 8 days, which is a concern. Historically, the first-party cookies that are set across the Experience Cloud last for about 2 years. So 2 years down to 7 days is pretty restrictive. And so the interesting thing that Apple has made clear is they just simply don't like those first-party cookies that are being set from JavaScript. And from JavaScript means it could be coming from the product formerly known as Launch, now called Adobe Tags. And that means that there's an opportunity for customers to take what I'm sharing my screen on, and I will finally get to, which is to set your own first-party device ID. Now, what that means is, I wonder if there's a good visualization on here. There isn't. This is actually oh, here we go. There's a good one, actually. So what this means is that you're defining your own first-party device ID and saving it in a significantly more durable first-party cookie that is set server-side through HTTP responses and headers and all of that kind of good stuff, so that it can persist for significantly longer than 7 days. You can keep it for 2 years or however the maximum is that you'd like. And so the way that it works is basically you're able to define a first-party device ID, maybe it's 456, that gets passed in to your tagging, and then we're using that as what we call a seed. And so that way, you're not defining the actual ECID or the Experience Cloud ID or the value that's set in the cookie, but it's saved in your cookie. We then translate that into the format that we expect it to be within our identity service. And we've basically now linked 456 with 789 here. And so then every time, even if this fourth visit is, 2 months after the third visit, and the ECID cookie had expired because that would have been set by JavaScript, that first party ID cookie, which is set server side, can again be a seed into the Experience Cloud ID and will return 789. And so there's actually really great documentation on all of this. I'll drop it into the chat pod for you because there's almost too much for me to go through just for our session today. But we thought it could be helpful to give you a feel for like the types of technologies that are out there for Adobe customers to have more durable first-party anonymous cookie IDs. Now, there are some gotchas to consider. First of all, you may have noticed I explicitly said anonymous cookie IDs, which is really important. You don't want to be using like a hashed login ID. You don't want to be using a brand ID that you have when users log in, or an email or something along those lines. Because first of all, there are some requirements on the type of ID that's used. I actually forget exactly what it's called, but it's something that is pretty ID formatting requirements. Yeah, so UUID v4, you may know what it is. It's a format for user IDs. And there's information if you click it. And the whole concept is that is the format that we're expecting that first-party device ID to be sent in through. And if you're then using that same ID on other devices, it will actually confuse the identity services. It'll confuse Adobe Analytics and potentially Adobe Target. The proper way to be using that hashed login ID or a hashed email or something along those lines is for Adobe Analytics using cross-device analytics or using customer journey analytics. So that's number one. Make sure it's that anonymous UUID. Number two is that a prerequisite of the fact that you'll need to be using the web SDK to take advantage of this technology. It would have been like a multi-year project to actually have this built into the traditional ECID deployment. So the visitor ID service plus legacy like app measurement and AT.js and DIL code and all of that kind of crazy stuff. So since the web SDK is new and significantly more flexible, it was the right choice for us to just simply say, you know what, if you want to deploy these first-party device IDs, that'd be a good reason for you to consider migrating on over to the web SDK. And I think those are really the key gotchas to be considering. Keep in mind that it is supported across all of the different applications within the Experience Cloud. So it's not just analytics, but Target for personalization and real-time CDP for activation and all of those fun things. So Ritesh asked the question here. So the first-party device ID, is that set by a customer? And that's exactly right. So the first-party device ID is set server-side and passed in through that server-side cookie, or at least reserved in a first-party device ID cookie. And that way, it's almost up to the brand to be managing it, and it kind of takes the JavaScript out of the equation, therefore allowing for Apple to say like, okay, this was like IT approved and all of those kind of things. Like, if I were to think about why they've made this distinction between like JavaScript versus server-side set, that's really the big difference. Is JavaScript, it could just be anybody's tag that somebody with access to a tag management system was able to drop in there. So it could be Facebook setting it, could be Adobe setting it, could be Google setting it, could be TikTok could be anybody, and the brand won't actually know what cookies are getting set because all they did was copy and paste one snippet of a pixel. Whereas the server-side set cookie involves IT and therefore is purposefully defined by the brand rather than by a third party or a vendor. So hopefully that helps.
That helps, yeah. And maybe just one more question, knowing the complexity of time. You said that it is only supported by the AEP Web SDK. So I'm not too sure of how many of the participants are aware of that, but I believe if we get provision for AEP Web SDK, then it's automatically a part of the platform. Is that correct?
So yeah, so we're like in the middle of like a little bit of confusing branding these days, but anybody on this call, anybody that has access to any application that within the Experience Cloud, I saw a whole lot of analytics in that poll, but also Target and Audience Manager, what have you. No matter what Experience Cloud application you have access to, you have for free access to utilize the web SDK and send data to analytics or send data to Target, etc., for no additional fee. Basically, the way that the applications look at it is we say like a server call is a server call is a server call. We don't really care where it's coming from. If it's coming from, like H code from the Site Catalyst days, totally cool. If it's coming from the web SDK, if it's coming from the server API, if it's coming from data insertion or data sources, no matter where it's coming from, a server call is a server call is a server call. What's unique is there's like a two-step process to make sure that your brand actually has access to it. Number one is making sure that you've been provisioned. And so I'll drop in the link to actually do that there in the chat pod as well. It like just takes a couple minutes to fill out. And the other half is making sure that you've actually been given access rights to work on the web SDK. And so we've got actually a really, really great overview that Rudy Schumpert on my team just delivered last week on our Bright Talk channel that is all about the web SDK. So if you're looking to learn more, definitely check that out. The recording is automatically updated there, and we've got some new cool stuff on the way as well. So hopefully that kind of answers the question.
That answer. Thank you so much, Eric. Anyone else?
Yeah.
If you have any questions to Eric, please feel free to unmute, or else we can progress. Yeah.
Great. Cool. All right. Well, that was a lengthy, like kind of heady topic, especially when I saw like, a relatively good amount of folks are beginners or intermediate. So hopefully that wasn't too technical of a topic, but I tried to do my best to differentiate, what our friends over at Apple are doing. And by the way, like we also work with the Safari team and the Safari privacy team. So we do our best to make sure that we're staying on top of all of the changes as quickly as we can too. All right, so that's first party device ID. The next topic that we thought could be kind of fun is talking a little bit about the GA4 dilemma. And so maybe like by a show of virtual hands or a thumbs up or something along those lines, I'm kind of curious, has the topic of Google Analytics 4 come up organically at your brand? See a couple. Cool. So yeah, so that's not surprising. Like everybody, just about every brand is working with Google for advertising purposes. So it's not surprising. And Google has a really strong force of sales people that are really pushing the marketing teams to consider a migration or a deployment of Google Analytics 4. And if you're not familiar with Google Analytics 4 and what's happening there, I'll give you like the 30-second review. Ritesh actually has a really great blog post that it looks like he's about to drop into the chat pod to share. But the short answer is I don't know, 6 months ago-ish, Google announced that they're going to be sunsetting their third version of GA called Universal Analytics by the middle of next year, July of next year. And what that means is that they're pushing everybody to GA4, which which I would recommend searching on Twitter about to learn more about how much people love it or don't. And so what I thought could be of interest is if these types of questions are coming up from your marketing teams, from your advertising teams, from the ad salespeople that are in your offices, then I thought I would give you a few like key considerations around like, hey, but like, does it do this or does it do that or something along those lines? And Ritesh, like, definitely feel free to add, your perspective as well. I spend like a good amount of my time like keeping myself familiar with GA just simply because I was implementing it and analyzing it back before I was an Adobe employee. So it's helpful for me to just simply stay on top of. But I'd love your perspective as well. So I think we won't go full screen here. We're just going to have some fun. So one of the big topics these days is all about identity and privacy. That was one of the first pieces of the conversation that I was sharing around first party device ID. And so when it comes to identity and privacy, one of the things that we focus on the Adobe side is making sure that you've got the tools that you need to have accurate data, believable data, trustworthy data, and data that is across channels and across devices. And so the way that our customers are taking advantage of that is through technologies like the first-party device ID, through technologies like cross-device analytics and customer journey analytics, where we're not only saying like, hey, just give us whatever ID you've got, but also we'll historically restitch that data to the behavior so that as users are anonymous and then become logged in or registered, then we're able to see that full history of behavior tied together. And so that's one of the things to consider as, as folks are talking a little bit about, what other tools are out there. Another big focus for us, and if you've attended a summit in the last 3 years, then you've heard a lot about customer journey analytics. So a big focus for us, and you'll get to see this in the roadmap slides, which I promise I will get to, is migrating from just simply digital focused analysis, which by the way is quite powerful just in core Adobe Analytics. We're talking, merging web and app data, having that data through cross-device analytics for our Analytics Ultimate customers so that you've got that behaviorally stitched data across devices. But then if you add in offline data sets from call centers or CRM or loyalty programs or in-store from point of sale data sets, then we get to a whole new level of analysis. And, the reason, like quite honestly, the number one reason that I came to work for Adobe is getting to work with Analysis Workspace. That's like the favorite thing that I do every day is getting to work in Workspace. And what I love about customer journey analytics is it's just Workspace, but sitting on top of all of that expanded data sets that exist, which means you get to right click and build calculated metrics and create segments on the fly and drag and drop and all of that crazy stuff. Whereas a big differentiator is that we're not requiring you to use SQL. We're not requiring you to tap into your IT team, your BI teams, just to simply, create a basic calculated metric. And being able to do that across channels, even if, we have some customers that are on CJA today that only have like 10 or 11% of their users are actually logged in. It's like, okay, well, what's the point of using CJA if only a small percentage of my visitors are registering and logged in? The really interesting thing is those 10 or 11% are your most loyal customers. So it's absolutely worth learning more about them than anybody else. And you can actually on the fly build, think of it almost as like a virtual report suite that focuses in on those users or focuses in on those users that haven't registered to identify what are the differences. So there's all sorts of really, really cool stuff that we have going on now. Attribution is another big focus for us. It was a number of years ago. It was one of the first big releases when I started at Adobe. I think maybe in like my second year is around Attribution IQ. And the way that we think about attribution at Adobe is just simply the fact that it needs to be agnostic. We are not trying to convince you to buy more ads from us. Instead, what we want you to do is use your own data and make your own decisions, which is why, if you're unfamiliar with it, Attribution IQ within Analysis Workspace basically says, apply any attribution model that we have, 11 different models, to any metric. And since you're applying it to the metric, then you can apply it to any dimension. And so it's not just the advertising dimensions. It's not just marketing channel details, but you can apply it to on-page search. You can apply it to the internal campaigns. You've got a wealth of different ways that you can apply it, which really expands the value that you can get out of attribution. So that's another thing to consider along the way. And then, my favorite is just simply the opportunity to perform an ad hoc analysis. And that means, delivering what we think of as, or what I like to describe as analysis at the speed of thought. In that as soon as a question, you see something interesting in your data, you can click it with a click and see the trend over time. Oh, this is going up more than I thought. Okay, let me break it down by one dimension. All right, it's not that dimension. Let me break it down by another. Oh, it's higher there. Let me create a calculated metric along the way. All of those types of things are pretty unique within Analysis Workspace and within Adobe Analytics. And what I would recommend for you is just kind of like Google's got a free GA4 demo data set. Play around with it and have some fun. Looks like we have a question about offline attribution. So we get into some fun around what's possible within customer journey analytics for attribution. What we've done is across those different channels, so in-store, call center, loyalty, CRM, et cetera, we're able to utilize a single identity that is merged at that profile. So then across those different data sets, we're able to string together that journey that recognizes, there was a display ad that was clicked through or a paid search ad that was clicked through that actually resulted in a buy online and pick up in store, but the pickup never occurred in store. And so you're able to kind of identify those full, start to end processes. The challenges that we get to with like offline sources are just simply, what kind of data exists. It's really hard to recognize, like, someone saw an ad on television, for example. It looks like I'm the only one in the office, so the lights are turning off. So that's one of the challenges that everybody's going to simply have is like the offline marketing channel. And like I'm here in Times Square and I see, ads for, what is that, American Eagle and Gree, which is apparently the master of air conditioning. They both have, just simple basic domains on their page. And if I were to go to them, I would look like a direct visitor. They'd have no idea that I saw that, on a billboard on 46th Street. But one of the things that we've seen some customers do is actually use vanity domains or vanity URLs in order to try to attribute those offline experiences. So hopefully that's helpful. All right, so I feel like I'm going to do a switcheroo here and migrate on over to the product roadmap. So Ritesh, if you don't mind, maybe we can just turn off the recording real quickly, just so that we don't send this off.